You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. Now, the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's WWE Monday Night Raw After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's WWE Monday Night Raw After Show.
This is not the music that I thought we were starting with, but we are. It is the Monday Night Raw After Show right here on AfterBuzzTV.com. I am your host, Cathy Kelley, filling in for Johnny LaQuasto tonight because he is on the East Coast doing shows, and then he's going to go to the pay-per-view this weekend because he's a lucky jerk.
Yeah!
I was going to say something much more profane, but I censored myself. So, sitting across the table from me, he's back.
Hey!
Walking Dale.
Hey!
Dale Rutledge.
Hey!
And sitting next to him, also back from a much longer hiatus.
From the dead.
Long hiatus.
CM
From
Punk.
the dead.
Not CM Punk, Phil. We told you from the start it wasn't CM Punk.
Yeah, it's Ryan Clum.
It's Ryan Clum.
Back. Johnny actually invited me and then didn't show up, so I think...
Yeah, how you like them apples?
He stuck me with you guys, or stuck you guys with me.
Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no Clummer Slam, but I'll do it
I
anyway.
know. We wanted the Guess Who's Back.
Back again.
Yeah.
Clum
is back.
Tell a friend. Okay.
Ba-da-da-ma-ma.
And people are shutting their computers off all over America.
They're like,
Oh,
well, I
where's this
guess
guy
we'll
back?
catch up on AfterBuzz next week. So,
Yay! Thanks, everybody.
yes. Unfortunately, I will be gone next week, but
I'll be gone again next week.
Boo.
Dale will be here. We hope.
Yeah, we'll
Johnny will
see.
be back.
If y'all aren't coming, what am I doing here?
Yeah. Take off next week.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to be
No
closed
show
for
next
business.
week.
Tonight, Monday Night Raw, live from Washington, D.C. We start with Stephanie McMahon coming to the ring. She has a smug look on her face. She tells Vicky to come out and face the consequences from last week for the coffee mishap that happened that sent Steph to the bathroom and then home permanently. But Vicky comes out and blames Reigns for everything, even... It was, I mean,
he
it
did
was
do it.
him, but it was also her fault. And Steph says, Reigns has a 7-in-1 chance at being champ, and that is their real issue, not the coffee thing. And says that Vicky has been riding on Eddie Guerrero's coattails for years.
That B.
Low blow.
Yeah, and the little Eddie chant, I think, starts up
Yeah.
out.
It does.
Which is nice. We got some Eddie Guerrero references tonight, which is awesome.
It blows my mind that it's been 9 years
Has
of
it been
Vicky
that
Guerrero. Yeah, she's this
Almost
was
a
her-
decade.
Almost
That's
a decade
crazy.
of.
I have to mention, this was the 1,100th
Yes.
episode of Raw tonight.
Yeah.
So they were celebrating. But Steph asks Vicky to get on her knees and beg for her job. Then Steph says she can keep her job if she wins a match tonight. Otherwise, she gets fired. The match is against Steph.
I thought they should have brought back the Kiss My Ass Club here and had Stephanie take up for Vince.
Vicky would be the first entrant in the Kiss My Ass.
Yes, I thought that's what we should have done, but
Well, but we got butterscotch pudding
yes,
instead.
we did.
Well, they played it off as something else.
I mean, poo.
Butterscotch poop?
I guess.
Butterscotch
Lovely.
pudding.
Pudding?
Pudding.
Pudding.
Would you like some pudding?
First match of the night, we have Jimmy Uso versus Harper. And the Usos come down to the ring, then Harper and Rowan come down to the ring with some interesting
Yeah.
new music. What'd you
Why?
guys think of this?
It hurt my brain.
Right?
Yeah, it was an interesting idea, but I think this is the first time they've come down to that, right? And
yeah, I get it. So it's the whole world in his hands.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a new
Song.
version of it with a little bit of another beat to it. I'm sure sometimes they take a couple shows, have different versions. So
I think that they like that version because it's kind of like annoying and people hate it, and then they'll become even more heelish.
Maybe.
If that's what they're going for, then they did it.
What do we
Maybe
think
they're
that was
trying
like
to get people not to cheer for them, so they gave them that crappy music. So
organ /
harmonica
or something?
I don't know. I will not be playing that on Rock Band.
Not a
well, who
good
knows?
combo.
Maybe in 3 weeks we'll like it. Sometimes these theme songs take a little bit to get used to. So we'll see.
I honestly don't want to see them wrestle anymore because I don't want them to I want them to lose so that we don't have to hear that music.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
I like them a lot, but I do not want them to win or ever walk to the ring.
It was cringeworthy, that is for sure.
So Harper ends up quickly clotheslining Jimmy for the win. Must have been like a minute-long match. Post-match, Jay gets on the mic and then says that he wants the match. So instantly we get Rowan versus Jay. Jay ends up winning that with top rope splash. And then after that match, Harper and Rowan team up to
basically decimate
beat down
them.
the Usos. And then hold the tag titles for the crowd to see.
Right.
I mean, there's a pretty good chance that they are going to walk out of that pay-per-view with those belts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they will.
The question is, will Bray join them in the gold acquisition?
I don't know. I guess that would make them the first team to ever hold the NXT tag titles and then the WWE tag titles, because we've never seen that before.
That would be an honor.
That's true.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of Bray's video promo after this, where he got on the Titantron and said he's proud of Harper and Rowan for everything that they've accomplished?
He's gold every single time he opens his mouth. It's just, yeah, he's just unbelievable. Yeah, him and Heyman are the best promos in wrestling right now.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. He said it was a new era for the Eater of Worlds. I like this whole congratulating them and not just making it be the Bray Wyatt show.
Right.
Yeah. You know who's getting pretty good at promos though?
Who's that?
Lana.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. She's killing it. She's great.
Homegirl is working it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Miss Putin.
Pudding. Anyways.
Can we do that again?
Speaking of Lana, we see Rusev and Lana. They did some sightseeing around Washington, D.C.
Sure enough.
Earlier today, Lana says that our president of the United States makes our country inferior. And she says that we can't ask what our country can do for us if America can't even help itself.
Yeah, she called us the laughing stock of the world.
Yeah. And then told us to follow Putin.
Yeah. They definitely slammed Washington a little bit tonight. Triple H made some comments a little later on as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
well, that's all right. At least it was something besides a sports team.
Yeah.
They had something to work with.
Although we did get some of those.
We did get a little bit of that as well for the match.
We did.
So after this, we get a match between Alicia Fox and Naomi. Paige is on commentary at first, and then Cameron joins her to bicker throughout the entire match.
Ruin it.
It seemed like an excellent matchup, Alicia versus Naomi, two girls who we both know can, go in the ring. The entire time Cameron was talking some smack on Paige.
He kept cutting the camera to commentary too, and it's like, go back to the match. I want to watch the match. It was actually a pretty good match, and this commentary almost ruined the enjoyment of the match. I mean, for me personally,
you never need 5 people on commentary. First of all, and one of those 5 didn't seem to really have much to say, but kept saying a lot.
Yeah.
Cameron.
Yeah,
she said actually at least 7 times.
Yeah. It slapped the taste out of your mouth a few times.
It didn't feel very well planned out. The bickering commentary felt like they were just improving, and it wasn't very good, and it really took away from the girls in the ring, which is where the focus really should have been.
I agree. I think that the focus should have been on this match because it was such a good matchup.
Yeah.
But it seemed like the reason why they did this was to set up this storyline where Naomi has beat Paige, Cameron has lost to Paige twice, so they wanted to... do you guys think that they're splitting up Cameron and Naomi?
It seems like it.
Okay.
That's
reeks of
really bad for
Splitsville.
Cameron.
Yeah.
That's not good for her because she's going to disappear possibly.
Well, I think that's why she was trying to get some time tonight, is because she's fearing that. But essentially what Cameron said on commentary tonight was that Paige thinks that Cameron's a threat, even though Paige dispelled that and said, no, I think that Naomi's a threat because she beat me. You're not a threat because you lost to me twice. But I would like to defend this title against Naomi because she's a worthy opponent.
I unfortunately feel this is Cameron and Naomi's storyline, and there's not really a threat of Paige losing the title. I think this is Cameron interfering in the match and out of jealousy or whatever.
And we were talking before, I feel like Paige has been neutered a little bit since she's been on Raw and on the main roster. She was so much stronger on NXT. It just feels like they've taken her character away from her almost.
They have a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. You know, she smiles and
she's a more PG Paige.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of the anti-diva, which she was doing in NXT, which was so much more interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to follow up AJ, though, when AJ was kind of being the anti-diva, to have Paige come in and not only take the title, but also sort of take that character route. Maybe they were afraid to feel like Paige would come off as a ripoff.
But
of
I
AJ.
still want her to be fearless. Like that you don't have
fierce.
to. I mean, they could take away the anti-diva aspect of it, but she should be a fierce competitor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what she lost a little bit
the screams and the, you know, that real aggressive ring
and
style.
being confident in her opponents.
Yeah, and honestly, a lot of her matches, she's only getting that final move in. You know, I mean, it's not a
She
lot of
wins and then
offense.
she's surprised and then is happy and cries.
Yeah.
Yeah, and way too much smiling going on with her right now. She never smiled back in NXT. It was always, you know, the scowl and come in and throw those elbows and those vicious knees. And that's what I want to see.
I'm not upset at her, though. I don't think that it's her. I still think that she's phenomenal. So happy that she got the title. But
absolutely.
Do you think that it's time for Naomi to get the title?
I think it's past time for Naomi to get to the title.
She deserves it.
I don't know if Paige should be the one to lose it at this moment. I mean, she's had the night after Raw. I'm sorry, the night after WrestleMania. It's only been a few months. I feel like. I mean,
she's young enough where she could get it again.
Yeah, for sure.
And maybe you do that, and maybe you turn Paige heel and try to bring that viciousness back out of her.
Yeah.
I don't hate putting it on Naomi. I think she absolutely deserves it.
Yeah,
at this
for
point.
sure. I'm a huge Naomi fan. So.
Yeah, she's great.
Also, since they are filming Total Divas Season 3 right now, and it seems like if they are splitting up Cameron and Naomi for the storyline, it could be kind of a conflict. Cameron gets jealous because Naomi's getting all this attention, getting a title shot, winning the title,
I like
and then
that, Cathy.
she gets the, you know...
Yeah, it is a good reality
Short end of the
story
stick,
of her winning the championship and getting her crying in the background in the backstage. And,
Not crying, whining. Annoyingly.
No, I'm talking about Naomi. You know, emotionally when she wins the title. You know, that great moment of the reality cameras picking up her winning the title, and it being very emotional because they did get into Total Divas when she thought she was losing that chance when she had built up to it, and she was very upset about that.
That's true. Would be nice.
You know, that would be nice coming full circle.
And none of those girls have been a champion while that show has been on.
No.
Surprisingly.
Shockingly,
yeah. I mean, Natty had a shot for a while.
She did.
While the show was on.
But
I think AJ had the title the entire time that the show's been on. So
yeah, and then I handed off to Paige.
Yeah. But getting back to this match, it was a very aggressive match. I mean, Alicia Fox always, you know, does that in everything that we've seen of her recently. Naomi ends up winning, and Paige comes to the ring, holds her title, they shake hands. But were there any spots that you guys wanted to mention, even though it did go back and forth between commentary and the match?
I love that side suplex where she picks her up and just throws her between the ropes. That's gnarly.
It looks brutal.
That's really cool.
I don't know. Yeah,
I've never seen anyone do that before, so that's a really cool move.
There's an awesome backbreaker as well, and her bridges are always so pretty and perfect. I really.
She's insanely athletic.
Yeah, and Naomi is just quick. She's got that quickness.
And you probably had, as far as natural athletic ability, probably the two divas with the best athletic ability of the entire roster in this match here. So, you know, it was really, that's why they kept cutting away. I just wanted to watch this match. I didn't want to hear the other girls bicker. And they were given more time than most of the matches tonight.
That's what I was going to say, is that this was one of the longer matches of the night, which I appreciate. great. I'm glad that the Divas are finally getting that time that they deserve. I was wondering...
They still need more time. They need to be given the time like they're getting them in NXT, giving 15, 20-minute matches.
Yeah.
But what happened to the rear view? Is that not happening anymore?
She missed it, or there was... She went for it at one point.
Oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah, she went for it, and I think Alicia grabbed the ropes, and I think she...
But that may be a new finisher for her.
Yeah, it looked like it was...
It looked pretty cool.
Something different. I liked it,
Reverse DDT with like a little elbow thrown in.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Did she drop the elbow like the?
Yeah, she kind of placed it there as she went down.
Because Big Show used to do that, right? Or was it Big Show that would, or would he bring the leg over? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh well.
Either way, I'd like to see it again.
Cool.
Yeah. If you guys know, please leave a comment on YouTube. Check us out in chat roll.
Yes, please.
Let us know. Before we get into the next segment, I want to mention Maria Menounos' new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness. This has been a Bible for me for just getting in shape, but it really has amazing tips, has good recipes.
Recipes are great.
It's probably good for guys, too.
It is.
I
mean, we talk about it on NXT. Mark Donica, who's an AfterBuzz host, said that his dad has actually used a lot of the recipes in here to just kickstart his diet and have a healthier lifestyle. But there are so many things that just, it makes you feel better. It makes your life better overall.
Absolutely.
So yeah, pick this up. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it in pretty much anywhere where books are sold. Great book. Can't say good enough things about it. But next we have Sheamus and Reigns. They're talking, and Sheamus says, this Sunday at Money in the Bank, it's every man for himself. He doesn't care about tonight's 4-on-3 matchup later. And then Roman Reigns says, he doesn't believe in magic, he believes in Roman Reigns, and that's kind of how they end it.
Yeah. And I like how Sheamus brought up the past, how the Shield would attack him, and not just forgetting about it, which he seemed to do all the time, just forget history and not bring things up. And I love the fact that I remember when you guys used to come in and beat me up.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that they mentioned that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wise words from Dale Rutledge.
Yeah.
Thanks for voicing your
Ditto.
Next match that we have, Titus versus Bo Dallas. Bo mentions Titus's match on SmackDown this past Friday. Says that Titus fell off his horse, then got right back on, but only fell off again.
Poor Titus.
Poor Titus.
I don't know what's going on.
I'll tell you though, as short of this match was, Titus only had a minute or so, but he did a lot with that minute. He looked
maximized
he maximized his minute.
For sure.
He was very aggressive. He looked good.
He's not a 1 minute man.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a song.
Oh, is it? I'm so old.
Missy Elliott, come on.
Show me what you got.
But, I'm very confused about this Bo Dallas character. Like, are we supposed to cheer him? Are we not? He's been wrestling heels recently. The fans seem to be getting behind him. I'm not sure what the direction is for him.
I mean, we've talked about this the last several weeks on AfterBuzz, pretty much since he debuted on Raw for the second time, a month ago, maybe a little bit more than a month ago at this point. His character, we know what he's capable of because of NXT, and we just want to see that because he's amazing. Like, he's got some chops. And it's just not translating.
Superstar.
Yeah, it's just not translating from NXT to the main roster yet. But we know that he's phenomenal. So we believe in him as a character.
Hopefully.
But this match started right after on commentary they mentioned Bo's black eye. We still don't really know.
They didn't say why.
From. Yeah. But Bo ends up winning and then running around the ring, picks up a mic. Titus knocks it out of his hand, and this is actually a funny line. He's like, "Oh man, I'm just Mr. Butterfingers over here."
I'm assuming that was an improv.
It had to be
hilarious.
My favorite
he knows
Bo
his
Dallas
character.
line ever was though on NXT where. He's like, can I get a glass of water when they were doing an interview and they give him a bottle? He's like, can I get a glass? I don't drink out of bottles. I love that. I wish they would bring some more of that into it. But I want a more defined role for him. I want to know where he's supposed to be going.
And I understand he's on a streak right now for winning, but I feel like at least in NXT, a lot of the fun was him losing and throwing those tantrums.
But that's what you have to do is you have to build him up and then he has to be taken down.
But right now he's 9-0.
9-0. Maybe he'll be 21-0 sometime.
Is he gonna have a Boldberg type?
Oh boy, I hope not.
Type streak. 179-0.
So after this, Triple H comes out with briefcase hanging over the ring. Is that what happens next? I have so many notes from today. Okay. So briefcase is hanging over the ring.
And a green briefcase.
Yes.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, it was green.
He announces that they will indeed have a contract ladder match. This is a shot at being the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, because when you have that contract, you are able to cash it in at any time against the WWE World Heavyweight Champ. So it's very similar. I mean, it is what we're used to. It's just a separate thing.
It's a big deal to have that too. I mean, that's a great gimmick to have.
I feel bad for the other 7 guys in the main, like the title match.
Why?
For the championship match, because they should all be allowed to be in the briefcase match too.
Well, I mean, but to get the chance to actually take the title home, or the chance to take the chance to win the title home, I think they're in a better...
If you had a choice, you'd take the title match, absolutely.
Yeah. I like the gimmick of Money in the Bank, though.
Yeah, I do too.
Last week I mentioned how they should have the championship match, and then immediately after they should drop down the briefcase and be like, you guys that are remaining, go for it.
That would have been cool.
I know.
Oh,
But I think
that would have been interesting.
they needed to advertise 2 matches, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because I wasn't feeling so great about this for the title
were all
match.
confused.
And the fact is, I mean, when they had one Money in the Bank match, it used to be on WrestleMania, and then they split the titles, they put 2 on, and that's when it became its own pay-per-view. So this was the first year we were going to only have one, since it was at Mania, I believe.
Which is weird
so
anyway.
it makes sense now, that you have 2. That's good.
Yeah.
I'd still like to see Money in the Bank go back to WrestleMania. It always was a nice thing for the mid-card guys to have to do.
But this pay-per-view feels to me like, this is almost taken over Survivor Series as the 4th most important pay-per-view.
Huh. Yeah, I can see that.
And, to me, it really has. Survivor Series doesn't really mean as much anymore. This means so much. You win that, you get
a shot.
A shot whenever you want. And, I mean, and the guy can have that for a year. So that's something that will follow them, that brings interest in the character.
They have a lot of clout.
Every time they walk out, people are interested and like, oh, could this be the night?
Is this the moment?
It's a pretty important match.
And then when you're least expecting it, bam.
So who are the entrants?
The entrants were announced by Triple H. Thanks for the segue, Zale. And he announces Kofi Kingston, Swagger, Ziggler, yay, RVD, Bad News Barrett,
all right,
and he does the accent, and then Rollins,
who we already knew.
Yes,
was the only
we
one.
already knew. He comes out in his space leather leggings.
He looks pretty cool, like pretty badass in that outfit.
Yeah, like
surprisingly,
like a badass astronaut or something.
Or a gardener from an S&M club.
That too.
I haven't seen any gardeners at S&M clubs before, so I'm not really sure.
Maybe he's the first.
Okay. The S&M gardener, Seth Rollins.
I'm here to share your prunes.
Oh, that sounds dirty. Rollins comes out and he tells people to get over it. I mean...
It's been 3 weeks already.
It happened. Move on.
I don't think people are going to get over it for a long time.
No.
And then he says he's responsible for Ambrose's and Reigns' success. He is the reason why the Shield was so successful, and at the end of the day, they were dead weight, and that's why he dropped them.
He's been great ever since they've kind of handed him the ball here, which was surprisingly of anyone to turn that it was going to be him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is taking the ball and he is running with it. His promos have gotten so much better and stronger over the last 2 years. I mean, he's a player. I mean,
Leaps and bounds.
Is an amazing. This guy, I mean, people always talk about, Roman Reigns being the possible breakout star. This guy could be the guy that really out of the Shield becomes the big star.
Honestly, I think all three of these guys could be the breakout. So it's nice.
Of them are going to be top guys, but there's got to be one that's the top of the 3. So it could be him.
Or they could all have their time to shine eventually.
And the nice thing is we never get this kind of time to see the talent kind of cultivate in front of us, like in a way that they all got this 2-year build.
Yeah,
it's organic, it's likable. We all are behind it, all 3 of them. So
listen, I wasn't ready for them to break up, but this was done so well, and like it came out of it was a surprise.
Yeah,
because I think everyone felt like they were going to break them up, and then they didn't. And like, okay, well, we're going to get them for a while, and then that swerve was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd been years since we had something
Unexpected.
like that. So
yeah,
I really,
very unexpected.
I appreciate it. And you know, it also is nice too for like the Nexus is probably the last big group that we had that was kind of similarly put together from NXT.
Right.
That felt like it had a lot of hodgepodging going on, and what didn't really have a cohesiveness to it. And most of them fell off afterwards.
Right,
I mean, you know, broke up into different things. But this is, I definitely see these guys all continuing to build and grow, and they're just also perfect. I love them. I love them.
It was perfect the way they did it, and they literally have built 3 stars with that group.
Yep.
So
good on you.
They all fed off each other. So that was the best.
Yeah. Rollins is interrupted by RVD. He comes out and he kind of gets mad at them. He says, "You don't take me seriously." And then Rollins says, "He did take RVD seriously back in 2005.
I popped for that. Snap. That was awesome.
Oh, snap. And then RVD gets back at him and he says, "Well, in 2005, you were probably asking your parents to stay up late to watch me on TV."
Because you wanted to be a wrestler.
You guys, it was only 9 years ago. The good old days.
How old is Rollins?
I don't know.
I think he's like late 20s.
Yeah, I would guess
20s.
late 20s.
Yeah.
So maybe it was
I think
college.
they're all
age
pretty
at that
young.
point.
All
Yeah.
3 of those guys.
Yeah, they are pretty young.
Yeah, mid to late 20s, I would say. But
RVD makes a good point about WrestleMania 22. He was a former Money in the Bank winner. He went on to win, I think it was the ECW championship from that Money in the Bank.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I forget which one he cashed it in on. But either way, he's won multiple championships and basically don't look past RVD.
Yeah, and he mentioned he was former WWE champion. He held the WWE and ECW title at the same time.
Mentioned crushing Triple H's trachea.
Yes.
and he's still got the moves.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And although this is a run, RVD is doing a run very similar to what Jericho did
Yeah.
a couple years ago, where he just is coming in, helping build these young guys, which I think is very awesome for him to do. But I would like to see him he's probably not going to win Money in the Bank, but I would like to see him pick up a few more wins while he's here.
Right.
Seth Rollins is 28, so he was 19 in 2005.
Okay.
In case you were wondering. I was.
Thank you for clarifying that, Kathy.
The more you know.
I think Reigns might be the youngest, I wonder, of the 3.
Yeah.
I would think so, yeah. And he's also, as far as experience-wise, the youngest as well. Because the other 2 were stars in the Indies.
But he's got that
Ambrose
Samoan blood.
Got that Samoa.
Yeah, so he has that family lineage, absolutely.
Yeah. Roman
His brothers
Reigns
were wrestlers, and
is... Oh, it doesn't say how old he is. Hold on.
Actually, somebody just turned.
He's 29, so
Aha.
he's
I
not
think-
the...
is
Maybe Ambrose is the youngest.
No, Ambrose, I think,
Umaga
is
was
the
his
oldest.
brother, right?
Who was?
Umaga. He was Roman Reigns' brother, I believe, right?
What is that?
I know Rosie was his brother. Was Umaga as well?
Ambrose was born in '85.
Ambrose is 28 too, so yeah, Rollins is the youngest.
Interesting.
Baby.
Little baby.
But not the baby face anymore. So, moving on. We have match right now between RVD and Rollins. Do you guys expect this to happen?
No.
I like it. Like,
I like it
it's very
less.
similar to last week where we just had matches like announced right then, and you get excited for them.
Yeah, and I think Rollins and RVD is a great pair.
Yeah.
I mean, as
I
we
was
saw.
excited, but these guys needed 10 more minutes easily on this match.
They
It
could
was
have gone 10 more minutes, yeah.
It was a very basic match. I mean, it really, they didn't get a whole bunch of false finishes. It was we've got Ambrose coming in and interrupting at the end.
Well, let's talk about that. Rollins curb stomps RVD, is about to win, and then Ambrose just attacks Rollins, DQ. Refs pull Ambrose away, and they kind of put him behind the barricade, and then
Timeout
he
Fox.
just like jumps out, runs across the announcer's table to attack Rollins.
I
Crazy.
love when he runs across the table. I think it's awesome.
It always
Yeah.
makes me
That
so
seems-
nervous.
He looks like an action star.
That seems to be his thing now, is just running across the announcer table.
Do it all the time, yeah.
I've got a little bit of mom in me. Every time he does it, I'm like, oh, don't fall. Oh, be careful.
Don't slip.
So Ambrose asks to be put in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and he says that he's going to show up if he's put in it or not.
Yeah.
And he's going to ruin any chance that Rollins has, whether he's in it or not.
I felt like he was a little caught up in the moment for this particular promo, because he was like, and then the audience was like, yeah.
But it kind of works for him.
Oh, it totally works.
He's like so crazy and maniac. I'm gonna punch your stupid face. I love that when he just goes nuts. It's great.
But I think that he's one of those characters that he's usually so, planned out, but he could just like take a second and do like a weird like if he like messes up, just like do a weird like twitch and then just be like, I'm gonna take you out.
Yeah. But I think that was a really good way to do it, because I was wondering how they're going to work this in. I mean, we were talking while the match was happening.
Saying that he's got to be the guy. There's only 6 people announced. We know there's a seventh because we saw the amount of people you can count. We had Rollins in 6 empty spaces, so you knew there was going to be one more.
But I didn't expect him to do it by saying, "I'm going to ruin the match either way." So you put me in.
That was a cool angle.
It was smart.
It was very smart.
Yes. After this, we have Vicky backstage prepping, and then we go to Triple H and Rollins backstage. Rollins asks Triple H to put Ambrose in the match where he can control him, as opposed to Ambrose just coming in and ruin it for him.
And once again, makes sense, the reason why he wants him in. He's going to screw this thing up for me, so it's easier to have him in there than him coming in and just ruining it.
Do you think that it will backfire on Rollins, though? Because Triple H said, if this does backfire, it's on you.
Yeah.
I mean, of this group of folks, it has to be Ambrose or Rollins.
Yeah, it's got to be one of the two. Those are the only two that make sense.
I mean, Bad News Barrett would be my pick if I got to.
That would be awesome, but yeah, it has to be one of the two.
It's got to be one of the two. I don't even see much momentum to most of the other guys. Ziggler, Swagger, Kofi, RVD. Yeah. They're great Money in the Bank participants, but they haven't had much momentum in the past few months. So,
although we did get a lot of cheers when Ziggler was announced.
Heck yeah! I mean, he already lost his qualifying match technically.
I know.
For the other one, so I'm glad that he is in the match. Yeah.
I would think Rollins is going to take it. I mean, that makes the most sense to me.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was kind of my prediction from the get-go of when he broke out. I thought maybe that's why he broke out, is because Triple H was going to say, like, I've got this spot for you in the Money in the Bank. It didn't quite go that way. But
yeah, I mean, could there be some sort of other swerve where Triple H gets involved and screws Ambrose over and Rollins gets in it and send up Ambrose and Triple H? Or
I still get the feeling that we're getting a Reigns Triple H feud.
Yeah,
before we get an Ambrose one.
You're right.
But we'll see. I don't know. Either way, we could.
Never know.
This Ambrose Rollins situation is not going to be done by Money in the Bank. That's
we're going to get a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Speaking of one of the entrants in that match, Bad News Barrett comes out to the ring. He gets on the mic. I love how he just put it in his little knee pad and brings it out. After he throws his cape off, he's like,
it was like
this mic here,
where you hide a gun if you're an undercover cop or something. Like, she's cop.
Yeah. Yeah. So he takes the mic out and he says, after he beats Ziggler today and Sunday, Ziggler will be forced to change his name out of embarrassment, just like DC's awful racist NFL team. The Redskins.
Redskins.
I was saying before, they need to turn this guy babyface. They absolutely do. He's been stuck in this mid-card, and this Bad News Barrett gimmick is never going to be a top-drawn heel. You can't have your top heels, the fans cheering
people
with them.
behind them.
Yeah, you can't. You need to want that babyface to beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
And the fans are too behind this guy, and he placates to them. You can tell he likes being cheered. So he needs to be turned babyface. This will never go anywhere.
Yeah.
The only way he's going to take the next step is as a babyface.
Yeah.
It's not going to work as a heel.
The only thing to that, though, is that there's 3 main players that are in that same situation. I feel like Bray Wyatt also teeters that line.
And he's going to have to be turned babyface as well.
And Cesaro can, not as much recently, but can very much.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Heyman's done a good job of kind of bringing Cesaro back to that heel.
And he hasn't done the swing recently that much.
And we saw tonight he teased it and then didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's a heel move.
That is a heel move. You don't give the fans what they want. And that's when Cesaro has been pulled back a little bit. Heyman's done a good job of kind of reestablishing him as a heel.
Yeah.
You can't be the king of swing without doing the swing.
No.
So figure that out.
Yeah.
He needs to bring in the UFO from the Indies back. Did you ever see that move? He would literally put them up into a like a torture rack and then spin around and then put his hands on his hips
as
and
they
spin as they're on his shoulders and spin around. Go look that up if you have Cesaro or Claudio Castagnoli UFO. It's
that sounds impossible.
It's unbelievable to watch this move, and I can't believe he hasn't brought it in yet. But it's so cool that people would go crazy for it.
Yeah.
This guy just likes to spin around a lot.
Yeah, he loves to spin.
Cool.
It's like a ballerina.
Yeah.
But like way buffer and cooler.
Totally. Like more manly.
Yeah.
Like lots more testosterone.
Totes.
But like the same kind of outfits.
Yeah.
Ballerinas actually wear more clothes.
Anyways. Bad News Barrett versus Ziggler for the IC title.
Match of the night.
Hashtag IC title. Barrett ends up winning, but there were so many great. I mean, this match ridiculous.
It was not a sure bet. We did not think that.
I thought that Ziggler was gonna get it for a second, and then and then it ended, and I was like, wait, can we get some more of that?
Yeah, this was. This was the one match that they were really given the time to be able to do anything and have a really exciting match. It was the only really great match of the night.
Okay.
And it wasn't, and I'm not slamming any of the guys. It was nobody was given the time to have great matches tonight, except for this. This was and the main event, but you got 7 guys in there, so 7. Those are hard for me to consider matches of the night.
And you said you really liked the way that this was set up and just the progression of everything.
Yeah, it was. I'm not gonna get crazy into it, but the way it was structured was a little bit different. It threw me off. I thought the match was going to go a little bit longer.
It felt different, but it was unexpected in a good way.
Yeah, they technically didn't do false finishes, but it felt like false finishes in there, the way they were doing it. So it was really interesting the way they structured this match, and it was great because of that.
I really thought that after Ziggler countered the bullhammer that he had it.
Yeah.
I really, really thought that. It was good.
I also think this adds more importance to the title, to the IC title. I think since they combined the 2 main titles, I've been looking for more of this type of match to be something that was at the top of the hour or wherever, importantly placed, and given the time to breathe so that we feel that title's weight.
They need to make this title mean more like it used to. It used to be so important. I mean, it used to be that was your step to the next title. You know, if you look at the list of the people who had this thing, if you go back from like 98 back, like almost every single person that held this title was a Hall of Famer. Yeah. You can't say that anymore. Now just anybody can hold this thing.
If they're gonna make Ziggler lose, I want him to be in more matches like this because it just showcases his talent and
I don't know what it is. I mean, he must have made someone angry in the back. I don't know what it.
Multiple times.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I heard a rumor that Ric Flair, who's coming back and supposedly being put with The Miz, requested to work with Ziggler, and they said we're not doing anything with him.
I mean,
That's the rumor.
I would just assume that since he's had a couple concussions in the last year, that they're worried about his health, and they know that he just takes crazy bumps, and maybe they've told him to tone it back, and he hasn't, so it's just a liability.
Or they feel he's injury prone, and they don't want to push somebody big that they may
because
lose
they have given him,
I mean, you can say that, but I mean, there's people like Rey Mysterio who are obviously very injury prone, and they've given multiple runs to and the main title. So I just am surprised with how much the fans support Ziggler, that he hasn't had that moment to at least run with it for a little bit.
They haven't given the Dan O'Brien treatment where the fans were able to pull Bryan literally to that when he's like, they don't seem to care with Ziggler. Like, doesn't matter how much you cheer when you bury him.
Like, we hear you, but we're not listening.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll win the briefcase. Probably not, but maybe.
But I mean, if you remember, was it the night after WrestleMania, I think, when he cashed in? And that place went crazy. If you remember. And he was a heel at the time.
Yeah.
It went nuts when he cashed in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's when he got his concussion, like less than a month.
That was good.
Classic swags.
Too bad.
So after this match, backstage, we have a lot of the superstars and divas are extras in this segment, but
Consequences Creed. What's his
Xavier Woods.
Xavier Woods.
Emma was there, but the real focus, Renee and Vicky. Vicky is talking about she wants her dignity back and she has no regrets and all that stuff. And then Orton interrupts and he says, "You're gonna get what you deserve for last week," and putting Reigns in that match. He said, "I'd say it was nice knowing you, but we both know that's a lie."
Oh.
These were two really good moments for Vicky, knowing what we know about her at the end of this. But she came off really strong and not that annoying character that she's been for most of her career.
It was a good goodbye. Like,
it was a really good goodbye.
We wanted to see more of her.
Yeah.
And we got some good Eddie moments.
Yeah.
There's a little good memories of Eddie thrown in there. And you know, one thing I didn't mention before is, speaking of Eddie, Rollins did the Three Amigos during his match with RVD. So I wonder if he threw that in. I haven't seen him do that before. Has he done that?
Not when he was with the Shield, at least.
So maybe he threw that in because it was Vicky's last night. You know, we had a couple Eddie moments tonight. So,
from what we've heard, it's very amicable that Vicky and WWE splitting on good terms.
Yeah, she's been on the road for 9 years. You know,
and I mean, her daughter is not with them anymore, as well.
For the second time.
It seems like it leaves the door open for her to come back because people just love her. They love all the Guerreros. Yeah.
It was very unexpected. Looking at her career on her own, I never thought that would be something, and she turned it into her own proper run in the company. You forgot about her being Eddie Guerrero's wife. She was her own person, and that's amazing.
And that probably happened during like the Edge storyline, right? Where Edge kind of turned her in from the sweet, kind of Vicky into the sex pot.
The weird. That was so weird.
Making out
and then
all
Big
the time.
Show got involved. It was weird.
Yeah.
But that is kind of when she kind of got made.
So backstage, Renee with not supposed to be Alberto Del Rio, but it ends up being Alberto Del Rio. And he said he's had the Money in the Bank briefcase before and cashed it in successfully. He's one of 2 guys in that match to do so. And then Heyman and Cesaro walk over. Heyman talks, and ADR asks if Cesaro is just a puppet because he never talks anymore. And Heyman does all the talking. Cesaro then says he speaks 5 languages, but none of them are loser.
Ooh.
Yeah. Take that.
Yeah. What'd you guys think of this?
I think that ADR needs something that makes me care about him.
Yeah.
And this is not it yet.
Ricardo Rodriguez. That's what he needs.
I know.
Bring back Ricardo.
I know.
I mean, we're kind of a broken record about this particular subject, but
do you guys
it hasn't.
about that?
Oh yeah, but it hasn't changed. There isn't. No one actually thinks. They took a poll online. I think it was 2% of people thought ADR would walk out of this as the Money in the Bank.
And he's so talented too. I mean,
it's not.
He's one of the best in-ring guys. He's unbelievable.
They just don't give him anything to work with.
Yeah, I think when they turned him babyface, that was such a mistake, and taking Ricardo away from him. They need to reunite those guys.
Yeah. Or have him lose his fortune and be like this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Come trying to get his whatever back.
He's like
Bring
one
Ted
of
DiBiase
he'll be a real life Slam City character. You have to take on jobs, odd jobs.
That would be funny if he lost his fortune.
He's the barista.
Yes.
Yes.
Not Batista.
Oh, good.
Commonly confused.
Okay. A barista, but maybe he'll wear the same kind of pants.
As Batista.
One can only hope. Next up, we have Damian Sandow.
You actually skipped over a couple segments.
What?
You missed Goldust and you missed the Kofi Swagger match.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Goldust and Stardust
We didn't really talk about...
was right after Vicky, and then we had Kofi versus Swagger.
Oh, shoot. I labeled my pages wrong. Sorry. I'm back.
Cathy.
Yeah,
We
sorry.
We didn't really talk about Vicky and Stephanie's match either, wasn't that?
Yeah, so...
Did we?
Yeah, I have all that.
Okay.
Okay, so
We're back on track now.
Back on track. Sorry.
There we go.
Before Renee, we already talked about that, but we'll talk. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, Vicky comes out to Eddie's music. Steph comes out in a dress and
Not ready to wrestle.
not ready to wrestle. Steph says the match will take place in this pool filled with disgusting, rancid, poo-looking pudding, something. And then Steph motions her lackeys to come out. Rosa, Layla, and Alicia Fox.
Hey, Rosa Mendes is around still.
And not blonde.
Yeah.
Not blonde. She's on Total Divas, so
I know.
she is around
She's
for
new.
at least another season of that.
Saved her career.
Yes. And then what ends up happening is the three girls chase Vicky outside of the ring and then over to the pool. Vicky pushes Rosa in, then pushes Layla in, then pushes Alicia Fox in, and it just seemed like they had the upper hand, and then they didn't somehow.
They weren't very
Things
good.
happen.
Yes.
Well, Alicia just had a match earlier, so she was
tired, yeah.
But the three of them
Rosa
having
hasn't had
Vicky...
Rosa hasn't had a lot of in-ring time, so she's rusty. And Layla's just
Rusty
dancing.
Rosa.
Yeah.
Rusty
And
Rosa.
Layla's just dancing these days. So she's
Layla's been covered in some kind of
Milk?
gook
Yeah.
for the past like 3 to 4 weeks.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like a clause in her contract or if she's just really hating life right now. But it is unfortunate.
Yeah. Those moments are memorable though, so she's
Yeah.
getting time.
Her and her chicken cupcakes.
And her butterscotch pudding.
Yeah. After the three girls go in, Stephanie ends up pushing Vicky in, so she is officially fired.
Fired.
We didn't do that in sync.
No, sorry about that.
Should we try it again?
Fired.
No.
Got it.
Nailed it.
And then Vicky pushes Steph in. Steph was looking very smug, singing the na 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 hey 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 goodbye, and then she does that a couple times, and then she sees that Vicky is about to get her revenge.
Vicky's repositioned herself,
Yes,
and Steph is in a precarious
Steph just
position.
stands there, but took it like a champ.
Yeah.
Oh, she went in full on, you know. She's like,
Face first,
Yeah.
even. It was pretty great.
you know, Dad was sitting back there, you know, watching, like, you go in.
Yeah,
You go in like I would.
yeah,
She's a McMahon.
that was sloppy.
Yeah.
It was gross.
She went in better than anybody else. Like, she took it.
Although it looked like Vicky couldn't even see out of one eye because she couldn't get the pudding stuff out of her face.
It was actually a sweet moment. She did a little Viva la Raza.
Yeah, a little shake.
I mean, covered in pudding, but
Yeah.
still kind of a nice moment and did a
Yeah.
kiss up to the sky.
Yeah.
It was really touching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those little Eddie moments were just so good and so, you know, they weren't overdone tonight.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the nice thing about it. You know,
Yeah.
nice little homages to him.
It was a great segment.
It's really sad. I mean, I loved hating Vicky, and I'm sad to see her go.
Yeah, I mean, but I guess it's time. You know, the character has been around for 9 years. That's you know, it's definitely, I don't want to say worn out its welcome, but she's not quite as exciting.
It
as she
already
was
peaked.
Back in,
Yeah.
peaked years ago.
Yeah.
So I mean, she's been on borrowed time for a while.
But she had some of the best heat in the company
Oh.
for a while there. I mean, there wasn't a louder boo.
With her excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was an instant heat magnet. You stick her with anybody, you know, they stuck her with Ziggler or whatever. That, excuse me,
Her
So
voice sounds
loud.
like Harper and Rowan's new song. And how annoying it is.
That is true. Both cringeworthy. I don't know. It's just a little sad. But also, Teddy Long getting released last week.
Yeah.
It's just an end of an era for GMs. I
Yeah,
know.
it's time to get away from the GM era. I still think that's kind of a leftover of the Attitude Era, and we've got the Authority now. It doesn't make sense to have the Authority running everything and still have these GMs.
But then
really doesn't make sense.
how do the good guys sneak into matches if there's no GM?
When there was never a GM when I watched wrestling as a kid. We had President Jack Tunney who'd show up once or twice a year and a video screen to make a big match or something. You don't have to have it. There's other ways to do wrestling without a GM. That's more of a modern day thing, and I think it's just kind of worn.
I just think you need
it again at some point, but right
a
now,
high up figure who can counteract the Authority. That's a good figure.
But how can they counteract the Authority? The Authority is the owners of the company.
I know,
so
but
then it doesn't make sense.
You need like a Vicky or someone to be there to be able to put a Roman Reigns in a match, you know?
Yeah.
Well, there's other creative ways to get around it. I think
like Ambrose.
We can exactly like the way Ambrose got it. We can revisit that in a few years, but I think it's just it's worn out. We don't need it right now with the Authority. It just doesn't make sense to me to have these GMs making stuff when the Authority is there every night, and they are the power. No one can override that.
Yeah.
So.
Can we talk about my favorite segment of the night, though?
Please.
Yes.
Backstage, Byron interviewing Goldust. Asks about Cody, and Goldust goes, "Who's Cody? You mean Stardust?" And then Stardust sings "Wish Upon a Star," ends it with his hands coming together.
Completely out of key.
With the star. Yeah. He's a much better wrestler than he is a singer, but we won't talk about that. Goldust then says to Byron, "Never thought I would be the normal one."
I was just disappointed they didn't actually wrestle tonight.
I know, but last week I was so excited.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's the whole Stardust thing is brilliant. And I mean, you guys touched on all of it last week, but it's gonna give them more life as a team. Cody's just really embraced it, and he's not wrestling like Cody Rhodes. He's a completely different person, which a lot of times when you see guys take something that's just them and with a new paint job, and that's not what this
literally
is.
this time.
It's a new paint job, but everything else is different too, which is great.
Hey, Cody Rhodes has. I've always been into Cody Rhodes. I just thought he was a great athlete, and obviously his lineage didn't hurt.
I think a former world or a future world champ.
Absolutely,
he should be.
He has run with every single ball from legendary, or what are they called? Legacy to when he had the face mask. I love that's kind of when I fell in love with Cody, is when he had the face mask and he would push the camera away.
What was his first one? Dashing Cody Rhodes.
Dashing didn't really work for me, but I like that he was he was doing it the way that you would expect somebody to do that gimmick. So
the mustache Cody Rhodes.
Oh yeah, I loved him with the mustache. I don't know. Everything they've handed him, he's made it into something that was entertaining, and this seems like it's at an 11 for him.
And Dusty actually tweeted about this last week, and he's usually pretty quiet about his kids, but he actually tweeted out about how talented Cody is, and he's one of the most talented guys in the company, and how this really shows it. So I hear that as long as this gets over, they will continue with this team. It's not 100% yet. But
I think it is over.
Yeah, I mean,
in my mind, it is.
With us, absolutely. Is it with all the fans out there? Hopefully. I can't see how
You're never going to be 100% over.
Right. I mean, no, of course not. But as long as everyone's into this, I think they're going to give them another run, or they're going to just do the brother versus brother. But I think at this point it's so good. Everyone seems to really take into it.
Yeah.
They have another 9 months to a year with
easily.
this.
They had a great run when they had mishmashed personalities there as just being the brothers. So now with this, I don't know. I feel like it gives them so much room to grow and do crazy things.
Absolutely.
Rejuvenated.
Yeah.
Everything else.
I mean, they should be doing some not just backstage stuff, but some vignettes out of the arena vignettes of them out doing just weird stuff. I mean, there's
just being at the grocery store or something. I'd be fine just seeing these brothers out and about.
Even if they don't have enough time on Raw or SmackDown, do some online segments with these two, because you can do a lot of funny things.
Yeah,
you got a whole network, shoe.
Right.
Yeah. They could absolutely have another tag title run with this.
Please, yeah.
With these two, I hope so.
Me too. After this, we have a match between Swagger and Kofi Kingston. Zeb and Swagger come out first, and then Kofi comes out, and then Swagger very soon locks in the Patriot Lock, and Kofi taps out.
Good.
Oh, so you can go ahead.
I was gonna say I can't wait to see Kofi in this match. I think he adds such great athleticism to everything he does. But
he's the best athlete, possibly the best athlete in the company.
Yeah. I don't know. It looked like Swagger hurt himself a little bit. Zeb had a tweet earlier this morning that I wanted to mention. That he said, "quote I got a feeling something changes tonight that people will remember."
I thought that they were going to get a new Real American.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So unless he was referring to Vicky and was just speaking about Raw, but why? It seems like an odd choice for him.
Or he was told something was going to happen, and then they, in rewrite number 8 of the day, they X'd it out. I mean, remember when Brodus Clay was supposed to be debuting week to week to week, and it's just like every week, oh, we cut it out this week. Hey, we cut out. They just rewrite things all the time. So he could have thought they were going to debut someone, and then it got changed on him last minute.
Remember Brodus Clay?
Oh, poor Brodus. He's going to go save the Dolphins in Japan now or something. Like
good for him.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about from this match?
Yes. Kofi, I think, is in desperate need of a heel turn. They need to do something. This guy's way too talented. He's just stuck in the mid-card right now, and he's another one like a Barrett that needs to change. They were doing this more aggressive Kofi several months back that then they kind of forgot about, but he was starting to become more interesting there. I'd love to see them turn him heel. You know, the guy can bump he's a crazy bumper, which would be great for heels to do, feeding for comebacks. I think a heel Kofi could really rejuvenate him and send him back into the championship picture.
He needs something.
He needs something desperately.
Unlike Ziggler, I don't suspect that he's a problem backstage.
No.
Like, I don't think I've met him numerous times. He's super, super cool and always very happy to do whatever. It seems like he's just not getting the gas that he deserves. So.
Yeah, it's just I don't think he's probably out of favor. It's just they've forgotten about him a little bit. Let's just throw Kofi in there tonight. And
he always gets that Rumble
I think
moment.
that they've tried to push him in the past, and it hasn't been either the correct time or the right push. So it's just a matter of
evolve. And that's the thing is Kofi now is the same as is Kofi any different than he was when he debuted?
Just without an accent.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you want to go back and look at someone like Edge. You know, every year that dude was evolving and becoming a different person. You know, literally his character evolved and evolved and evolved and evolved, and that's why he was able to stay relevant. Kofi hasn't evolved, and he needs to evolve now.
But who gets to pick that? Does Kofi get to say, "Hey, I'm doing something different," or do they have to green light it? Because that's where it's a very.
So it's more of a creative team now, and that's part of. I mean, we could talk for hours of a creative team versus a booking team, where you had that one guy where you could go to and say, hey, and pitch ideas to. Now you've got 30 people who are all fighting to get their things on and pulling politics. And so it could be that too. Yeah. It's just a completely different era, but they need to do something with him. They need to change him.
Yeah. So
shave his head. Do something. Just come out. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But they need to do something. Not just a little bit different, like drastically different.
Like turn him into a president? Like Abe Lincoln?
I was going to say...
Another great segue there.
Yeah, before we talk about that, I just want to say they announced the Paige versus Naomi match for the pay-per-view this Sunday, which is going to be amazing.
Great addition.
And then,
as long as they give them more than 5 minutes.
True.
Please
they will. They will. They will. They will.
More, don't just be the filler before the main event. Let's just stick the girls out there to do 3 minutes.
No, they know the power behind these two girls. They're going to give them time.
If they give them 15 minutes, they could steal the show. I mean, these two could absolutely. We've seen Paige do it in NXT before.
There's not a lot of matches.
Got the ability.
So far, there's not that many matches on the card, so hopefully they do.
I mean, I'm sure
those
Rusev, Big E,
are pretty long.
Those are going to be long.
Those will be long matches.
We talked about Renee with ADR backstage. Now we are going to get to Abe Lincoln. Damian Sandow as Abe Lincoln. He comes out and he says he'd rather spend another night in Ford's Theater than letting you simpletons dictate his career.
He's got some zingers.
Zing. And then we get a Sandow versus Big E match. Big E gets the big ending for the win very, very soon.
Not a huge surprise.
Yeah. But
although I would like to have the record book say Abraham Lincoln picks up a win. That would have been a lot of fun.
I mean, we called it last week on the AfterBuzz show that Sandow was going to come out as Abe Lincoln. There he was. Well, but it was more what happened after this that was important.
Wait, Big E grabbed the mic here at this point and showed some personality.
But Tom first comes out and asks questions, or is about to ask questions to Big E, interview him. Then Big E steals the mic. Right. Said he's mad about everything that Lana and Rusev said. earlier when they were out on the town, DC.
Started being a little preachy there, which I liked.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of like I don't know, Martin Luther King, like kind of, I don't know.
Made me think of Eddie Murphy in Coming to America when he was doing the preacher. That's all I could think of.
It was good. I like that personality from him. It's new. It's something, I mean, we know that he's hilarious, but we want to see more of this.
We've talked about the My Little Pony segment before, which I've actually heard him talk about on a podcast before as well.
Really?
Yeah, so they brought that up. I forget which one it was. It was on Austin, or I forget where I heard him. But
was it my podcast?
I don't believe it was your podcast. Was it your podcast?
He did talk about it on there.
Maybe that was your maybe it was your podcast.
Yeah.
That was. I listened to so many at this point. It was your guys' podcast. That is exactly where I heard it.
That's hilarious.
He was talking about being a brony a little bit. Yes, okay. And you know, he has a great personality, as we've seen. So they have not let him show it. And we saw a little bit of it here tonight. I hope they let him do more of this.
Yeah,
because he's underutilized as well.
Absolutely.
I think, you know, we talk about, you know, the next big stars here, and we hear about the Shield. You talk about Bray Wyatt. I think Big E's got a shot too. I think this guy's got an incredible amount of talent. I think he's great in the ring. He's got a great personality. They're just not giving him anything to do. They're not using him properly right now. So he's got an incredible amount of potential to be a big star.
Which is so weird because his Instagram and Twitter are like the biggest business card he could possibly have for how entertaining he is. And so it's not like they don't know that he has this in him. You know, we're all very aware of how cool he can be, and they're just not really letting him do it. And he has the right physique. A lot of times it's the physique that, you know, Vince will let them hold back, but he has exactly what is per typical for them to push. So I don't.
He's not super tall though. I don't think.
He's not super tall, but
under
how
6 feet.
strong
He's
he is.
under 6 feet tall. So I mean, that could be the one thing. I'm sure. Well, if he was just 6'4", he'd be a star.
But if you look at Rusev, him and Rusev have almost the exact same build, and he's getting the biggest push that he could possibly get.
He's also new though.
Yeah.
So sometimes we'll see.
Let's talk about
let's talk about Rusev
Lana
in a year
and Rusev.
and see where he is.
But let's talk about Lana and Rusev right now because Lana comes out to the ring and she gets on the mic, and then Rusev attacks Big E from behind.
Dirty.
None of us saw it coming.
No.
That's how the segment ended.
Yeah, and I think he locks the accolade onto
Big E.
Onto Big E.
I think this has potential to be a match at the pay-per-view. I guess it's just hard to really. These matches are becoming a little stale for me when you know what's coming. So it's hard to. These type of pushes are hard in general to keep interesting because the finish is always the.
I'm interested to see this match though. I mean, I think this could be. I don't know if I'd say a show stealer, but I think if given the proper amount of time, I think these guys could have a great match because they're both uber talented, and this could be a great power versus power, a great story of these two just power lifters. I believe Rusev was almost an Olympic level power lifter. I don't think he went to the Olympics, but I think he was training for it. From what I understand, and we know about Big E's powerlifting background. So, I mean, it could be a very interesting story. This just, you know, the the immovable force versus the unstoppable object, or what? I said that wrong, but
we get you.
You know what I'm talking about. But I think it could be really, really interesting.
Yeah.
As long as they're not given 5 minutes. As long as these guys are given 12 minutes, 15 minutes to do their thing.
Yeah. Well said.
We shall see.
Backstage, Renee interviews John Cena. He comes out and says some stuff. This is where our DirecTV got a little shoddy.
Yeah.
We apologize.
We could see him, but we couldn't hear him.
Thanks, DirecTV.
Yeah, we could see him.
I see what you did.
Yeah.
You see that?
All I got out of that promo is, the champ is here. And that was it.
Yeah.
It's true. He was there.
A lot of, mouths moving and not much coming out of it. But after this, we have the 4-on-3 match. Crazy action, especially the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Everyone was involved. So good. Sheamus ends up brogue kicking Cesaro for the win. After the match, Kane comes out. He's announced as the 8th entrant after he just destroys everyone. So he's going to be the 8th entrant in the championship ladder match. Then Roman Reigns comes out of nowhere, spears Kane, and that's how we end Raw.
Ooh,
for this type of
person,
which I was questioning it right when it was happening. I was like, where the heck does Kane go? Why isn't he in the situation?
Yeah, you were going from #1 to contender to not even on the pay-per-view. What's going on?
They heard me. This was booked really, really smartly, in my opinion. I like that Cena came in the beginning and really sold all the heels really well.
Yeah.
Very strong. Reigns got his moment, mainly at the end.
And then he took a second heat,
Yeah, and then Sheamus just cleaned house and got the win. We hadn't seen... Sheamus is building nicely lately.
He was on fire.
Yeah.
So, I just don't see... He hasn't been back long enough to win everything, I don't think. I don't know that he's going to be the champion.
I know, yeah. Who do you think is going to come out of this?
It's hard for me to say, but it's got to be Reigns. But you can't have Reigns and Rollins both win
the ladder match. Bray Wyatt wins, though.
Bray Wyatt.
That would be a good one,
That's my heart pick. Like, I think that could be interesting because he's so good on the mic right now. His promos are great. And I think he could carry the title because he's strong in the ring and his promos are they're like Paul Heyman level promos right now. I think him and Heyman are absolutely the standouts on the mic right now.
Speaking of which, my dream booking for this is Cesaro wins it. Brock Lesnar finally comes back, and we get a Cesaro-Brock situation somewhere down the line.
I was actually hoping now I don't see it working out this way because who's in the match, but that the person, whoever wins the title, immediately you hear the music of the person because they're going to be beat the crap after this ladder match, barely being able to stand with this thing, and then whoever won the match, the earlier Money in the Bank, comes out and cashes in.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, we could still get a tease, but, it looks like it's going to be Rollins or Ambrose, and that doesn't look like that would make sense.
If they did that, though, and Reigns won the title, and then Rollins stole the title from him.
That would be epic.
That would be great. Epic. And, there's also the option that I don't think we've talked about. There are 2 belts hanging above the ring. What if one guy grabs one and one guy grabs another?
Interesting.
Are the titles now split?
It is weird that they haven't combined those titles yet.
They have not combined the titles. There are 2 titles hanging up there, so there are multiple swerve possibilities in this. So I honestly have no idea where they're going with this.
And if that happened, then you would just have a match at the next pay-per-view to reunite them or something.
Or they just split them again.
I don't think they're going to split them again.
I don't like that idea of splitting
them.
I like them being together and having the one champion, but they could always do that.
Of the announcement of Kane being the 8th entrant, I have to give a shout out to @GhostStabby on Twitter. He said, "I knew there would never be a 7-man Money in the Bank match. It's always 6 or 8." So
except for the other one is 7.
I know,
but they could still add someone.
They could add someone. Yeah, they could.
So, we shall see.
But way to go, Sabby.
Yeah. Way to go.
Scared about that name a little.
Well, Chris Mingy said tonight's after show should be called the Clum Night Stand instead of One Night Stand.
Clum Night Stand.
Here for Clum Night only.
Yes.
And on that note, I think that ends our after show.
That's the note we're going on.
Monday Night Raw of this week. We have the Money in the Bank after show this Sunday.
Yeah.
Gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be a good pay-per-view.
Clum.
Yes.
So glad you could be back.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for having me back.
Feels good. Feels
Thank
good.
Johnny for inviting me.
Yes. And of course, Johnny will be back next week. But until then, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter @Cluminator.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram @TheWalkingDale, and you can also find Johnny and I's other show, The Wrestling Compadres, on Nerdist.com.
Still the best Twitter handle ever.
Thanks.
And you can find me on Twitter @Cathy Kelley. You can find all of us here on Twitter @AfterBuzz TV. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment. We love reading your comments on YouTube.
Sure.
Subscribe to YouTube, as well as all of our other after shows. You can find those there. And I won't be here next week, but Johnny will be back. Right. We will have a full panel. It'll be great. So make sure you tune in. See you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.